way you do see that colleague in the office, you can close to Nigeria's office.
And gentlemen, you are all welcome to this very short impromptu press conference in regards to the ongoing activities at the Dangote refinery in Lagos and the clash with Pengasyn. The reason why we have decided to address the nation today here from the capital city, Abuja, is because we have noticed some anti-labor policies and actions by the Dangote Group. We have noticed that the Dangote Group have sacked about 800 engineers and Nigerian workers in clear contravention of labor laws and also in clear violation of Section 40 of our Constitution, that these workers, they have rights. And the basis of the sack is even more annoying. The fact that these workers decided to congregate and unionize. It's not a crime for workers to want to protect their own interests. And because, when you are dealing with very big conglomerates like the Dangote Group that has access to billions in dollars, individual workers cannot on their own fight for their rights. They must do so through unions. That the workers have committed no crime in ensuring that they congregate together and come together to form or join a union, that the Dangote Group of companies, from agriculture to sugar to fertilizer to now petroleum, that they have in aggregate about 9 unions, different unions, in many of the facilities and activities that they profile. And therefore, the group should not be an anti-workers business, should not be an anti-worker company. And this is the basis for us gathering here today, that the issues going on at the refinery exposes the bigger problem of monopoly being perpetrated by the Dangote Group. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Act prohibits any company from abusing a dominant position to weaken competition. Yet, we are confronted with a company that has benefited from government licenses, exclusive privileges, and subsidized foreign exchanges over the year. And this company now uses that power to entrench, control, and silence labor. Within Dangote's businesses, from food and beverages to fertilizer, cement, and more, there are close to 9 different unions representing his workers. Each of these unions exists because workers have the right to organize and to be treated with dignity. The monopolistic era of master-servant relationship is long gone, and the rights of labor must be respected. It is matter of public record that the Dangote refinery was built with extraordinary support from the federal government, from central bank interventions to preferential access to foreign exchange and other forms of government support. When a private project of this scale that was nurtured using public resources, it ceases to be purely private enterprise. And it's interesting to note that, in fact, the interest of the country, which was at 30%, magically is now 7%. Magically is 7%. That's not the purpose or the input of today's intervention. The public has every right to demand full transparency on the refinery's recruitment practices, especially where allegations of mass sackings and replacement of Nigerian staff with foreign workers have been raised. This is the Federal Republic of Nigeria, not the Federal Republic of Dangote. Nigeria is not and must not be allowed to become a private fiefdom of any corporate actor. The social contract between employer and employee and between private enterprise and the public that sustains it demands fairness, transparency, and respect for fundamental rights. There's no justification for sacking more than 800 Nigerian professionals simply for organizing, nor for any employer to exploit his size or state-granted advantage to silence labor. We have decided to issue these on behalf of the Save the Republic group, a public interest group that we have just come up with. And we also hope that as events unfold in the country, this group will become very vocal in organizing and expressing our views on topical issues in the country. It's important to note that, yes, that the agreement reached with the Ministry of Labor, because efforts were made in the beginning to prevent the escalation of these issues. The agreement reached by the Ministry of Labor with Dangote Group was violated, and these workers were still sacked, despite all the efforts that was made, by the Ministry of Labor and both the DSS. While it is commendable that these efforts were made to prevent escalation of this issue, but what we have witnessed today now is we have witnessed Pengassin actually now going to site to enforce a shutdown, and this is regrettable. We must commend parties that have made efforts to resolve this matter, and we urge the parties go back to the table and negotiate and look for a way to resolve the dispute. But we want to be very clear that the Dangote Group must respect the rights of workers and ensure that these rights are protected at all times. Thank you. Other comrades will now refinery that fuel from the refinery that is produced in Ibejuleki should be cheaper than the one that they bring from Brazil. Yes. And the fuel that is refined here in Ibejuleki is more expensive than the fuel that is brought into the country from Brazil. It's only this is what we call Nigerian wonder. Nigerian wonder that is bigger than American wonder. You understand? Because I've never seen in my life where something that is produced here is not imported, will be more expensive than the one that they import from abroad. That Dangote, from our calculations, can sell fuel for 550, 600 and still make maximum profit and still be able to repay his loan. But that's not even what we are saying today. That's not the reason why we are here. We also know that he wants to control all the sectors in the oil and gas. Currently now, what he's doing right now is that he's the one producing. He's now the one in charge of retail through one of his proxies, and he now has trucks to be transporting the product to the end user. So he wants to control from production to the end user. But that is not even the reason why we are here today. The reason why we're here is because Nigerian workers have been sacked, and unjustly so. The irreducible minimum that we're asking for is that they should be reinstated, so that Nigerians will not be at the receiving end of we will now have another fuel scarcity on our. So we don't want Nigerians to suffer untoldly, and we don't want those 800 families plus and their defendants to also suffer. So we are calling on the government and the security agencies who are involved, and Aliko Dangote himself, that they should please resolve this issue as quick as possible.